When you watch a professional gamer, it really seems like they have some crazy reaction time. How are they doing this? They're dodging everything with crazy reaction time. Are they just born with such fast reaction? Well, I'm not a neuroscientist, so I don't have the best answer to that, but I watched hundreds of pros right next to them for years and years, and I also helped regular players with this exact same issue. So let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is, do professional players actually have crazy reaction time? So this is a compilation video of top tier Korean League of Legends players doing reaction time tests. Some players like Deft, Pyosik, Showmaker, they got around 150 milliseconds, which is very fast reaction time. But you'll also see a lot of other top tier professional players, including the world champion players like Roller, have pretty average reaction time, somewhere around 180 to 250. So I asked my Discord chat to do me a favor and do this test for me, and honestly, the average score wasn't too far from those top tier professional players. No wizard, they are just League of Legends players, not first person shooter players. Well, this is a content from Fnatic's Valorant team, and they're doing the reaction time test as well, and yeah. I mean, some of them had a pretty good score, but honestly, it's not too far from the gamers in my Discord channel, at the very least in the pretty similar range. And this was also the case for Simple, the legendary CSGO player. Then, what makes the difference? How are the professional players making those crazy plays, hitting that crazy flick shot, or dodging all the sleep darts and roadhog hooks? Well, the first thing is prediction. A few years ago, I had a student and he thought he had a very slow reaction time. He was a 42-year-old boomer gamer with old eyes, and he said his eyes hurt if he played more than a couple games. He played Zarya and he couldn't block things like Ana's sleep darts. We did a reaction time test and his reaction was actually faster than mine. But the problem was, he was mostly tunneling on his aim and not really predicting what the enemies would do. So after the coaching, a couple months later, as he started predicting more and more, he was able to block more skill shots. Next thing is the first indicator. Let's say you're in your house alone and you're having your happy time alone, and all of a sudden you hear your dog start barking and you hear a car sound in front of your yard. In that case, you might want to react to that. If you react to your parents actually knocking on your door, it'll be too late. I don't really know if you guys can relate to this analogy, but the point is, we want to react to the earlier sequence, one step earlier, what I call the first indicator. Not reacting to the parents, but reacting to the car sound and my dog's barking. Or I guess if you're Korean, the button sound of your electric door lock. Just like that, let's say you're shooting a roadhog from the side and trying to dodge the hook. If you try to react to the hook itself, it's too late. We gotta react to the first indicator a step earlier. Even a professional player himself says it's just too hard. And it goes same with a lot of other skill shots like Ana's sleep dart.
딸이 옆에서 딱 이렇게 때리는데 나 갑자기 쳐다본다. 그럼 전 바로 옆전면 써가지고 한번 쓰는 거예요.
그랩을 보고 피한다기보다는 조금 더
예측을 하는 거죠.
시야를 보고.
이런 게 아니야. 그 수면총 보급형 모션 보급하면 되는데 이게 아니야.
So we are really looking out for the first indicator, which is the eye contact in this case. And this applies to your aim as well. When you take a close look at how certain characters move, by the way, I've learned this from Sugar when he was a professional player, but certain body parts of the characters move first. For instance, Pharah, wings and feet are the first indicator. They move first. And also, it is more visible. And for Tracer, if you look at the core of her body, it is relatively stable when he changes direction. But looking at the legs, they have very obvious animation to show which direction she's strafing to. Her head also tilts side to side. So if you want to have a fast reaction in game just like the professional gamers, then you want to be looking out for the first indicator, not your parents knocking on your door. Next is focus and mental stack. If you want to have a fast reaction, focusing on one thing at a time will benefit you. In fighting games, they have the concept of mental stack. Let's say you're playing Street Fighters or Tekken, and let's say if the opponent is in the golden range for jump attack or dash power play, then what you want to do is you're only looking out for those specific things like jumping or dashing, so you're narrowing down your focus. So in the Roadhog example I mentioned earlier, we're focusing on the eye contact. We're narrowing our focus to the first indicator. A lot of players try to focus on other things like aim or trying to locate their team or the other enemy teams. But in these exact moment, if you narrow down your focus, it will significantly help you with your reaction time.
호그 입장에서 가장 끌기 좋은 타이밍은 트레이서가 딱 쏘고 있는 타이밍이야. 왜냐면 쏘고 있을 때 이게 트레이서 입장에서 에임에 집중하니까
그쵸.
전멸을 약간 안 쓰게 되거든요. 그래서 호그가 그랩이 있는 상황이다. 그러면은 그때는 딜을 조금 못해도 괜찮으니까 에임의 신경보다는 이 호그가 날 보고 있나 안 보고 있나에 신경을 쓰는 거예요.
그러니까 호그가 날 쳐다보고 있는지 그 눈을 쳐다봐라. 호그의 눈을, 아이 컨택을.
And finally, once you're behind cover, now you're switching your focus back to other things like where your team is and where the enemy team is. Or if the hog used the hook, then you can focus on your aim. So we're constantly switching our focus, like going into an aim mode or a dodging mode. And high-level players are really good at switching between these modes, and that's how they have such a good awareness and good macro understanding, like knowing all the enemy ultimates, and at the same time dodging everything and hitting amazing shots, because they think about the macro in between the fights, and when they have a disadvantage in fight, they go dodging mode. And finally, when it's a green light, they focus on their aim. And the last thing I want to talk about is limiting yourself. Just like the boomer gamer I mentioned earlier, I've seen a lot of students limiting themselves, thinking, I just have bad mechanics, my reaction time is just slow, and thinking it's something they can't improve on. But if you keep these perspectives in mind, and if you start feeling that sense of achievement and accomplishment, the dopamine, whenever you have your prediction right, I don't know if you can be the best player in the world, but reaching top 1%, I think anyone can do it. Even someone like me, who has a horrible mechanic and reaction time, was able to hit top 200 in both League of Legends and Overwatch. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the content and if you want to learn more from me, you can visit my website. I'm offering one-on-one coaching. And I have Tracer course in English language as well. And my Korean lectures just got huge updates. So if you're interested, you can check out the link below and see you next time.